Hey guys, what's up? It's Monklezunky. So, in the previous video, we talked a little bit about how Invention has come into the game. I checked that out a little bit and kind of announced that I am back to playing RS a little bit, and that has definitely been true. I was playing on my Iron Man account while checking out the Invention skill for the most part, because that is the account that when we last left off with this game I was trying to max out, so it makes the most sense to train Invention on that. Still, hopefully work towards the max cape on the Iron Man one day. That'll be a pretty awesome achievement. However, with my main account, things are going a little bit differently. As most people do when you take an extended break from the game, I did give away most of my bank wealth to friends, because that's just kind of what you do when you're not using the money anyway. You might as well give it to people who need it. So I had done that, and I decided to go a step further, in fact, and also kind of clean out the bank. We saw a brief glimpse of it. All that's left in the bank is the Black Ibis set and Void and a few charms. So what I've decided to do here is actually start a bit of a rebuilding series, like from the ground up, from nothing at all. Well, there still is the Void in the bank, I guess, that technically could be used for combat and stuff like that, but I just could not get the motivation to drop that Void because it was pretty painful to get. But everything else in the bank that would be useful for any kind of rebuilding has been all cleared out. Every single tradable item has been sold and put into a safe place, and all the untradable items have been dropped or destroyed, which there were some items that were pretty tough to destroy, like those Hydrix jewelry things, man. Those are expensive, or at least they were when I bought them. However, you know, money isn't necessary for a lot of things in this game. There's still a lot of ways to have fun. There's still a lot of bosses you can kill and monsters that you can kill with a very small bank value, and I'm going to be trying to showcase some of that. Of course, it does help having max stats, or I guess I can't say that anymore with the new skill, but nearly max stats other than the Invention skill. So I will be starting off with just like some really basic gear, having all the quests done, having the stats. Yes, it does help a lot. However, there still are some very easy ways to make good money that I'm going to be trying to take advantage of to rebuild a little bit here without having a large amount of money already to spend on tier 90 weapons or armor or whatever else you may need. So first things first was just to get the bare necessities. So this included stuff like, well, since I had 0 GP, stuff like going to Aubrey's rune shop in Varrock and picking up the free air runes, and as long as you use ability queuing with a staff and a couple air runes, you don't actually use them up unless you mess up and forget to ability queue, which, you know, admittedly does happen. And I also temporarily forgot that you can just go pickpocket elves in the elf city and gain some starting cash very easily. I did eventually get that for buying our next item here, but also the Arty Cape comes in handy, and you might see where I'm going with this already. I have the Draken's Medallion, Arty Cape, a staff, tier 70 staff, which is obtained from the Blisterwood tree. Very easy way to get a pretty decent weapon, costs nothing and takes almost no time to get it all, and also an enhanced Excalibur. So all this stuff along with the air runes, this is enough to start Barrows. No food is required if you have the Soul Split Curse that's able to provide all the healing that you need, along with using some of the stun abilities to keep some of the harder hitting Barrows brothers like Darok away from you. That also helps, and I just started grinding out some Barrows chests. So I did around 25 chests or so, and this doesn't take much time at all, even with the really low level gear. I believe the entire trip took about an hour and a half worth of time, and it's definitely much faster if you're taking advantage of really powerful offensive armor such as the Void. Again, I'm not going to be using that for any of this rebuilding until you know, the bank is fully built up again and we want to take advantage of that stuff again, but it's definitely not necessary for doing any of the stuff that I plan on doing. So, you know, I didn't exactly get super lucky when it comes here to the Barrows chest, but if you have those hard Mauritania tasks complete, even if you're not getting really lucky with the Barrows specific drops, you can still make some pretty decent cash, because lots and lots of death and blood runes, and you can even get stuff like elite clue scrolls, which I did get my hands on one of them and will be completing that at a later date as well, and you can always get lucky, get a nice reward from that. But the reason why I decided to do Barrows is because of the Invention skill. The Barrows tops and legs are worth a lot of money because people are disassembling those for great Invention XP. So they have a very high value in the GE. I'm not sure how much the melee tops and legs are worth. I've been told that those are the most expensive ones. But also, even the RMs in the Carol's armor still has a pretty decent value. So I might keep doing this for a while. I just kept going until I got one piece of Barrows. But this is pretty great money, and if you get lucky, get a few Barrows tops and legs, it's millions of GP per hour. So this was a great way to start off. Here's our first drop, is just coming up in this next chest right here, and it was a Carol's leather skirts. So that one, it had 860k GE price. It ended up selling for quite a bit more than that. So again, I'm not entirely sure how much all the Barrows pieces are worth. I'd have to buy them, and as you might be able to tell, I'm a little bit low on cash right now. However, this one ended up selling for, I believe, around 2 mil or so. So we just went ahead and sold off all our loots here, and I made close to 5 million in just an hour and a half from literally 0 GP. Again, of course, stuff like the Draken's Medallion helps speed up killing these Barrows brothers by quite a bit, and it's really not nearly as good money without the ability to just teleport to the Barrows, because banking trips take a lot longer. But the Carol skirt ended up selling for about 2.4 mil, and because killing stuff with melee is a bit faster invention XP, the melee tops and legs are worth even more than that. I'll have to get a drop of them one day to see exactly how much they're worth, but that's a great start. And then I started doing some other stuff. First of all, I got one of the Tengu pieces from a ports mission on the very first day of ports, and it kind of caught me off guard there because, admittedly, I forgot which missions I sent from last night, but I got one of the pieces required to make the Tetsu weaponry. I do not have the scrolls to make a main hand Tetsu sword, so unfortunately I'm going to have to discover some of those, but that might come in handy later on before we get Dragors back. Also, did that elite clue that we got from Barrows, 300k rewards, so that wasn't too bad. And I decided the next thing that probably needed to be done was to get a tier 80 weapon. Because let's face it, the level 70 staff, pretty good for Barrows, but we're going to need better weapons than that if we want to continue on with some of this PVMing, because that's one of the better ways to make money, is by killing bosses. Even though the Barrows, armors are worth a lot of money, I think it would be a little bit more fun to branch out, try other aspects of boss hunting as well. So the first thing you need to do to get a tier 80 weapon, unless you want to go down the chaotic route, but I was going for the Royal Crossbow here, is kill the QBD. And of course I did destroy my Royal Crossbow. I did have one at one point, but we need to rebuy one. All the money from the Barrows paid for all the supplies that we need to get a nice setup for the QBD, and I just went for a mage for this first kill in Batwing robes. I was unaware of this at the time because apparently this was changed in the last 6 months while I wasn't playing, but apparently Batwing robes are now level 30 and Mystic is now level 50, which makes sense because Mystic is much more expensive and harder to obtain. Anyway, that's the reason why I'm wearing Batwing here and not Mystic. Someone let me know about that, and now I know. But we got our first QBD kill here with Mage, and it still was fairly easy, even with just using the level 70 staff. I did make an extreme magic pot, and of course, curses helped, buff this weapon quite a bit, and we just needed to stand in the super hot flames of the QBD's breath attack in the final phase to forge the Royal Crossbow. And that's all that you need to do to remake this weapon. So it's a really easy weapon to make. It's very, very cheap as well. I think all the Royal Crossbow parts were around 150k each. So, great weapon to obtain if you don't want to go for all the tokens to make it chaotic. And I even managed to finish off the kill without dying, which I was a little bit impressed, especially considering apparently we're running level 30 armor here as well. So, hoping for a good loot from the first QBD chest, but this is also another boss that I'm probably going to be killing a lot of, is the QBD, just because the drops are very good and it's very, very easy to kill with the Royal Crossbow. So this will be another way to make money, along with Barrows if we want to return to that. First drop is U-Logs. So this is going to be our starting PVM gear setup. No overloads as of yet. Hopefully I'll make some cash and be able to make some of those soon. Those will help a lot. But we got the Royal Crossbow, and I got a full set of Royal armor as well, and we'll be able to make some good cash with this. So I'm looking forward to continuing this rebuilding series. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in a few days with the next episode, and we'll probably get back into the Iron Man pretty soon as well. Anyway, see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.